What are you doing in your own development that could be wasting your time and your energy? Stay tuned. Hey, this is Damon Cart from NLP Gym, bringing you cutting-edge Neuro Linguistic Programming tools and techniques to help you create the life that you desire. So if that sounds good, please click subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get these videos on a regular basis. There are three things in particular that I'm going to cover in this video. Three things that I see a lot of people doing in personal development that's really wasting their time, wasting their energy, and I'm guilty of all three of them. So I know what it's like. I've been there, tried them out. Doesn't work well, and I'll explain to you why. So let's get right into this. The first thing is affirmations. Affirmations have been around probably since the beginning of personal development. It's probably one of the first things that was utilized as personal development, the first technique or whatever you want to call it. And a lot of people still use them to this day. And every time I bring this up and every time I'm critical of affirmations, people come back and say, well, affirmations have worked really well for me, and on and on and on. So I'm not going to say that affirmations don't work at all. What I will say, though, is oftentimes they cause more problems than they solve. For example, if I make $50,000 a year and I'm telling myself I make $1 million a year, or I weigh 260 pounds and I tell myself I weigh 160 pounds. So this is the idea behind affirmations. If I say it enough times, or if I say enough good things about myself, then somehow it will then become true. So one of the problems that comes about as a result of this is that some part of you has to reconcile the untruth of this. So part of you will say, no, you don't. You don't make $1 million. You don't weigh 160 pounds. And so what happens is you create an inner conflict. So one part of you saying that's not true, and one part of you saying this is true. So when you divide yourself like that, when you're in conflict with yourself, this will drain your energy. It will drain your resources or cut you off from your resources. And it's just overall not good for you to be in opposition with yourself. So that's one of the problems with affirmations. One of the other problems with affirmations is that it's usually not backed by actual experience that you've had. So as soon as you're confronted with a contradiction about what it is you are telling yourself that you are, it can be shattering. It can actually crash you. So if I keep telling myself I'm 160 pounds when I really weigh 260 pounds, and I walk out the front door and somebody calls me fat, I'm not going to take that very well. I'm going to probably take it worse than if I wasn't saying the affirmations at all. Some people try to get clever and they say, well, okay, I'll say it as I'm becoming that, or I'm going to get to that. So I will become a millionaire, or I will lose 100 pounds, something like that. The problem with that is then what you're setting yourself up for is being in a state of everything that you want, or everything that you're saying your affirmations about, being in the future. So if I keep saying I will become a millionaire, and I say that every single day, I'm not becoming a millionaire. It's not getting me closer to becoming a millionaire. It's constantly saying that it's out there in the future. What can you do? What's the solution here? Is there any affirmations that are good? Yes, I have heard on occasion somebody say a good affirmation. The one that I use, especially when I was dealing with a lot of self-worth issues, in fact, I suffered from self-worth issues or feelings of unworthiness and not feeling deserving of what I have for most of my life. And affirmations were one thing that I turned to. And like I said, as soon as I would say these great things about myself, and then I would encounter contradictory information, feedback, or whatever, it would shatter me. So I finally stumbled upon one affirmation that I think really helped me. I don't really use it anymore. I don't really feel the need to use it anymore, but it's the affirmation, I'm enough. So I go around thinking, I am enough, or I say to myself, I am enough. It's really hard for any part of you to oppose that. In fact, the part of you that normally has to reconcile the untruths actually is going to have a hard time opposing that. It's going to go along with it. It usually has a deeper sense of wisdom that would go along with that, knowing that yes, you have all the resources you need to accomplish anything. So yes, you are definitely enough. The other thing too is you might be wondering, well, why does that part of me oppose the things that I want? Why does that part of me say, no, you don't, whenever I say I make $1 million? This is the part of your intelligence that keeps you out of trouble, that keeps you grounded in reality so that you don't go off thinking all these things that are not true and getting yourself into trouble. So you don't want to get rid of that part of yourself that reconciles the truth, that part of you that comes forward and says, no, things are not this way. Things are this. I can clearly see that, you weigh this amount or you make this amount of money. This is a very important part of yourself, so you don't want to get rid of it. It's not trying to hurt you. It's not trying to get in your way of getting those things. It just has to be grounded in some truth, because overall, to be a grounded, intelligent, and well-adjusted human being, you have to face reality. Number 2 is striving to be the best. First of all, being the best, in most cases, is a very lonely place. It's also very unrealistic because there can only be one who is the best. We've been told a lot since we were kids, most of us, to strive to be the best. In some cases, we were told to be our best, and I think that's much better. I don't have anything wrong with being your own best or being my best. The worst part about striving to be the best is it usually takes constantly comparing yourself to others. And this will get us into a lot of trouble, as well as draining us of energy and our focus. You can play the comparison game. You can compare yourself to others. You may have had situations where you compared yourself to someone who you thought that you're better than. If you go to pretty much any city in the US, you'll see lots of homeless people, and you can say, well, I'm better than that person. That might give you a little bump in serotonin or dopamine. You might feel a little bit better about yourself, but it won't last very long. And you're also then locked into a game of comparison, and you will most definitely encounter someone who is better than you in whatever that criteria is. So you will meet someone who makes more money than you, who has a beautiful spouse, or a spouse who's better looking than your spouse, who drives a nicer car than you. There's always going to be something. So you're going to be doing this up and down, crash, come up, crash, come up. Your state will not be stable because you're always taking in this feedback and assessing, am I better than that person, or is that person better than me? It will not serve you. It will not make you a better person. That doesn't mean that you should not compete with people. Competing or competition can be very healthy. That type of challenge where you're challenging yourself to see what you're made of, what's inside you, what are you capable of. That's very, very different. In fact, that's what I would recommend that you do. Instead of comparing yourself to others, explore yourself. And one of the greatest ways to explore yourself is to challenge yourself. And that might be in the form of competing with someone. That doesn't mean you're comparing who's better, or in the sense of who's more valuable, or who has a better life, or who's more deserving or worthy. You want to stay out of that kind of comparison. But challenging yourself, competing with others, that's all very healthy. And also, that doesn't mean, when I say explore yourself, that doesn't mean that you don't explore yourself with other people. One of the great ways that we also explore ourselves is in relationship and also connection. It's hard to explore ourselves without relating to something external. Sure, we could go inside and we can think about, well, what are my thoughts? What are my feelings? But inevitably, you have to relate to the world around you. You have to relate to people. You have to relate to the stimuli and the feedback that's coming to you. And this is telling you something about yourself and about your projections. So explore yourself. Go ahead and do the deep exploring intimately within yourself, writing and discovering and exploring your feelings, but also explore yourself in connection and in relationship and in competition and in challenge. Just stay out of the comparison game. You will do yourself a huge favor by not engaging that. And last but not least, number 3 is the morning ritual. My problem with the morning ritual has more to do with how it's been so overhyped. Like, this is my morning ritual, imitate my morning ritual. I've got the best morning ritual. I've figured out the ironclad, bulletproof morning ritual. And so people go and imitate whatever guru, spiritual guru or self-help guru on their morning ritual. Here's the thing. Everybody has a morning ritual, whether you're aware of it or not. Most people, when they wake up in the morning, they do the same thing, or they go through a bit of a ritual that is mostly the same every single morning, whether you recognize it or not. In fact, we are ritual type people. We have our routines. We have our programs. We've just do these things out of habit, and then they usually fall into unconsciousness. And this is the programming part of NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming. So we have programs, we have routines, we have rituals. So it's a good idea to become aware of those programs, to know what is happening, to be conscious of them, so that then you have a choice about them. So instead of the program running you, you run the program. So yes, the morning ritual can be a good thing, because if you become conscious of what your morning ritual is, and then you realize, well, if I do this and I do that differently, or I add this in, or I take this out, sort of like a best practices, then yeah, you can really set the tone for the day. It can set you up for greater success. It can set you up for feeling better, for being more vibrant. What I caution you about, though, is thinking that it stops with the morning ritual. What I would recommend that you do is just think about all of your habits, all of your rituals, all of your programs, and then ask yourself, well, what would be better than what I'm doing now? What would be better habits for me to do? What would be better rituals to do? So examine the big ones. You don't have to really tinker with the small ones unless they're getting in your way, or unless you want to improve something in that area. But what I really want people to take from this is to not limit it to the morning. Like if you have the greatest morning ritual, then you don't have to do anything else for the rest of the day, because you've set yourself up for success and it's just going to work. No, this is about setting up not just a morning ritual, but an all-day ritual, an evening ritual, whatever it is. Make your programs, your habits, your rituals work for you. And sometimes it's really simple stuff that you can add or subtract from what you're already doing that can help out quite a bit. Maybe you find that you're not really paying attention to how much you're drinking, and suddenly you realize, I'm drinking every single night 3 or 4 beers, and it's not a problem yet. So it would be really easy just for me to take 2 or 3 or 4 of those days out and not drink on those evenings. So that's just an easy example of subtracting something. Maybe I could just add in a 30-minute walk every evening to just give me some more exercise, and also to collect my thoughts and think about, what do I want to do for tomorrow? That's another ritual, another routine or program that you could consider a best practice that could help you out in some way. So that would be adding something in. So the thing is that yes, having a great morning ritual is a good thing. I'm not going to knock that. I also think you should change up your rituals from time to time. If it becomes too routine, it might not be helping you out anymore. And just don't limit it to the morning. Like look at everything that you're doing throughout your day. How do you optimize your day? How do you just add in and subtract out things so that your day goes smoother, you get done more work, you're more productive? And remember to include fun. Remember to include something that makes you happy every single day. That's basically what rituals are there to do, to serve you, not for you to serve them. And when they're unconscious, that's mostly what happens, is you start serving the ritual. And without the ritual, you don't feel right, or you can't adapt to not having the ritual. So be adaptable, be willing to drop your ritual and start another one. And just remember, don't limit it to the morning. Do great rituals that serve you pretty much all day long, and in the evening as well. If you'd like to get the full PDF report on everything that I just described in this video, check the description below as well as the pinned comment. There's a link there. Just click on that link and you can get access to the full report. Also, check out my website, nlp-gym.com. There you will find some free NLP training as well as some free hypnotic inductions. If you like this video, please click like right down here. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button right here. Take care on everything that I just described in this video. If you would like a full report and also the pinned comment for you, full report on PDF report, that if you would like to get the PDF report on